How to crush a 2025 fantasy football draft. That's what we're doing today. I'm your host, 3-time best ball champion. Hope everyone's doing well. We're kicking things off over on DraftKings, drafting in their Millie Maker contest, and we pulled the 12th pick. So let's see how this bad boy goes. Need to get some more DraftKings drafts done. Going to be doing mainly evening streams for August and beyond. You know, maybe an afternoon stream here or there. Evening for me. It's around 8:40 East Coast time at night. What's up? What's up? Good evening. Let's go. Hello. Hello. This is the $20. Those are the best picks, so you're running good. Yeah, I usually like drafting on Underdog Best, unless DraftKings wants to pick up a sponsorship of the channel. Smelling salts were banned for like 4 seconds. Turns out that just NFL teams can't provide them. But you can provide your own smelling salts. So hopefully we get a little crazy DraftKings action. Maybe a 3-4 turn Ladd McConkey. Keenan Allen is a Charger. In my latest ranking updates on beatbestball.com, I had already updated Keenan a lot. You guys could tell from the streams I've done recently that I was taking Keenan with Justin Herbert. After it was reported that Keenan visited the Chargers, I was like, okay, he's just simply going to be a Charger. Would he have been if Mike Williams didn't retire? I don't know. Isn't the greatest overfit from a top-down view with the Chargers. But, it makes sense. You want to go back to what you know. We all do, right? Some nostalgia. And Ladd McConkey can play both outside and slot. And so could Keenan. He could play outside and slot. So, yeah, I think in all my recent drafts, I was like, I took Herbert. Let's get Keenan. So, I'm not going to be chasing Keenan up wildly up the board, but we'll see how he goes. Should Ladd McConkey fall in drafts at all? Absolutely not, right? Ladd McConkey, if he was going at the 1-2 turn next to Brian Thomas, wouldn't blink an eye. Is Ladd McConkey going to fall in drafts? Yes, right? There's new information. People don't know what to do with it. A lot of people think that I think only one wide receiver can catch the football. So we buy the dip on Ladd gladly. And, it might make the first pick, the second pick, these picks might become much better picks if you can start getting Ladd at the 2-3 turn, particularly in the third round, quite a bit. Trey Harris, Quentin Johnston. One of these guys is almost certainly a loser. I don't think Quentin Johnston's good at football, so he'll probably be a loser. Trey Harris, definitely the early season outlook is much worse for him. I still think Keandre Lambert-Smith can be something in this offense too. It might be primarily as a deep threat, but hey, being Justin Herbert deep threat, there's worse things to being in the world. So I put a poll out on Twitter asking which of these Chargers wide receivers score the most fantasy points weeks 10 to 17. I chose week 10 because Harrison, Lambert-Smith are both rookies. Keenan got 30% of the votes, Trey Harris 34, Quentin Johnston 25, and KLS 11. So really no one knows is what that poll tells me. We got Josh Allen going at the 6 hole in this one. And yeah, I think we're just going to do Puka and Ginty. So the Matt Stafford back stuff, I don't think Puka, Adams, these guys should not be going lower in drafts really at all. Are they going to? Yes. In my ranking update next week, I think I might put Puka just one spot lower, switch him with Nico because they're very close anyways. Stafford's a great candidate to throw for 40-plus touchdowns this year, if healthy. Obviously, the if healthy, people are going to be like, well, he's not healthy. We don't know. You know who else wasn't healthy this time last year, if you've been in the game a while? Joe Burrow, right? Joe Burrow was falling. Jamar Chase was falling. Why? Oh, Joe Burrow's hand will never be the same. Oh, Jamar Chase, contract. And then what happened? They were literally the guys you have to have. So even if Stafford gets hurt, well, then big deal. You're going to get like 230 passing yards a game on average from Jimmy G, right? So are you going to get quite as productive an offense? No, but Puka and Adams are protected somewhat by either Benson Stennett or is it Stenson Bennett? I don't really know that guy's backup quarterback, or Jimmy G. And yeah, I'm prone to think that Stafford, who's been dealing with these back issues forever, is going to play the majority, if not all, the games this year. This could be a thing where we look back, we're like, wow, Devontae Adams and Puka both have 10-plus touchdowns. Do you remember when we were talking about Stafford's back? Now, it could go the way where it's like, oh, Stafford couldn't play football this year. That was actually more serious. But yeah, I do think fear is what's gripping people mostly. So I'm gladly going to be scooping the dip on Puka. Adams, I was a little uneasy about jamming him at the 2-3 turn where he went most of the offseason. I'll be scooping him as well. A much more comfortable click as he enters the 4th round. In general, I buy fear dips, right? Another man's trash, another man's treasure. Most preseasons are overreactions, J-Lup. We're going to see, like Jordan Addison, we're going to get a fall on him in these drafts, especially on DK. God know your market, right? So we do see Ladd go pick 22 in this one. Tyreek Hill, vibes are bad. Still think we got to draft him, but yeah, vibes are bad. Weird stuff's happening around him. I think we should definitely be mixing in Ja'Cory cross-game era. I also don't think you should be like jamming him in every draft, Yeah, and when Stafford threw for 41 touchdowns, guess who his wide receiver 2 was? If you didn't cheat, I doubt you would get it. So, if you're not cheating, take a guess. Who was the second most productive wide receiver? That was the year that Cooper Kupp had 16 touchdowns. But who do you think was the wide receiver 2 in yardage and touchdowns on that offense for Stafford when he threw 41 touchdowns in 2021? Robert Woods? No. Tutu? No. Cooks? No. It was Van Jefferson, folks. He got 800 yards from Van Jefferson. Cooper Kupp had nearly 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns. Van Jefferson, 806. Robert Woods, 604. Higbee, 605. OBJ, 305. So, I mean, my God. If the man could do it with Van Jefferson, imagine with Adams instead. Hey, a new Kupp was generational. A little newsflash. Puka Nacua is generational. Don't think you can go wrong with any of these guys. Godspeed, but I prefer Nico. You could argue that PPR fits St. Brown and Neighbors a little bit more for floors. This is a crazy guess. Darrell Owens. Okay. Trying to wake up. I took a nap. Let's try Cook and Brees. Get the triple running back. Got to know your environment. Running backs tend to go higher on DraftKings. Hype about Brees is that he's going to catch a lot of balls. That's probably because the Jets are not going to be a good offense, and so they're going to have to dump off a lot of balls to Brees Hall. I don't know. All three of these guys could be smashes. Cook is holding in. Did I see that? That's Good Sports still your Browns quarterback bit? I did not see that. I don't even know what That's Good Sports is. Let's look it up together. That's Good Sports. I know they didn't tag me. You're gonna have to link me here because this is a lot of tweets to scroll through. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything. Maybe that was the YouTube channel and their YouTube video. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what that is. So ball recognized ball though. Yeah, I said DraftKings should replace the O tag with a coffin. Let's get players to really fall. Daniels and JSN was perfectly reasonable there, Steven. Yeah, I think the nuts for Brees is he does get traded midseason, right? Which, like, that type of stuff is like, if someone's jamming Brees and then he gets traded midseason and then Brees is a hit, like that's an example of like Brees being of a bad process, good result, right? Unless you are specifically drafting with like, I think this guy for sure is getting traded, which of course almost no one ever is. But that's the game we play. Kamara one seems somewhat unlikely just because he got paid so recently. Brees one also kind of seems likely. I think he's in like the last year of his rookie deal. So I don't know. I don't know if we see players traded often on their last year like that. What a great community. Liam Murphy's mod says Brees is definitely getting traded. Hey, man. Chaos is part of what we play here. The GOAT has got Josh Allen. Maybe he watched Hard Knocks last night. Hard Knocks, absolutely no actionable information. Not surprising. ETN getting traded. Absolutely. He's a candidate to get traded as well. I think Terry's getting traded. I do not. Hit the like button on your way in, folks. We're slowly but surely on our way to 8K subs. Rankings at beatbestball.com. I don't think Hard Knocks was a dud. It just wasn't fantasy actionable. It was fun. KJ Hamler with the scooter. What were the digs? I didn't watch Davis's marathon stream, but that's okay. When you're at the top of the mountain, a lot of people want to take a shot. Also, I do a lot of streams with those guys, so I don't really mind. Probably not, Cullen. We just put out good content here. We don't need bits and such. All right. Let's take Travion Henderson. Not something I usually do on a different platform. And the ADPs are just crazy here. And let's do Roma Dunze. I was tempted to go RJ Harvey there too. Just draft 5 running backs, be done. Not going to draft many more running backs with the Gene T. Cook, Breece Hall, Henderson start. But, we just know DraftKings. They're going to give me the wideouts later. I think in general, 18th round picks, right? Like you have to understand the 18th round picks you're making. This might be an article I put out where it's like you can take a shiny new toy and you could just take a player who's like not being drafted, who wasn't being drafted in May. So like an example would be like Keandre Lambert-Smith, Ja'Cory Cross-Schemera, guys like these. Or you could take a guy who's like very likely to score points, who we've been drafting the whole time, like Dontavian Wicks, etc. In-season content, in general, we do a best ball review show each week where we review that week. And then probably do some Battle Royale streams. Don't really know much more than that. Calvin Austin seems likely to be the Steelers wide receiver 2/deep threat at worst. I'll keep you posted. Yeah, we'll mix some DFS teams in. I would say like Ricky Pearsall is one of those guys, but it's weird because it's like, okay, I had like Ricky Pearsall on very few BBM teams, but then I had Ricky Pearsall on like 3 of my 7 big dogs or something. So it's like, whatever. The exposures, they work themselves out. I do. Thank you, sir. I just forget to press that button. Chat has been turned on. Appreciate you, Christopher. Double elite quarterback is something I would do very rarely, but I think it's fine to do on occasion. Some people would be dogmatic with it where they're like, you can never do this. This is terrible to sacrifice a 3rd and 4th round pick. Now, some people try to do this in every draft. That's obviously bad. I'm a chess teacher. Always kind of have been. Was missing it, to be honest, so. Returning to build a team. Used to teach chess in New York City. Yeah, this guy building 0 RB. Where did this guy come from? I think Tank is more likely to be a guy giving points, and Tootin is a player who, if he hits, could be like a 40% advance rate player. So yeah, the upside in general, folks, like you should be risking for upside, right? Like I think a lot of people in best ball, they're like, oh, this guy could be a 0. Let me take a guy who's going to give me 6 points a week. Now, Tank can be upside as well, and I like Tank and Two, and I've drafted a lot of both. But if Tootin hits, he's rookie year HM. So, and you got to look at the ADP. Like I have Tootin ranked ahead of ADP. I wouldn't recommend taking him exactly where I have him ranked because you could get him later. Please, God, give me Jaden Reed. I hate you. Why? Oh my God. Now we're just at like a rare draft that stuck it to me at wideout. All right. Josh Downs. Sure. And Jaden Higgins. It's pretty rare that DraftKings drafts behave like underdog drafts, where like in underdog drafts, Reed, Golden, Shakir, Cup, Addison, like all these guys are usually firmly gone by the time you're on the clock here. But on DraftKings, like usually like Reed or Golden or Addison will for sure be there. Godwin I passed on just because, again, his ADP is 95. And so even though I value him somewhat here, if you're going to be taking a player 10 spots ahead of ADP every time, you forgo the opportunity to get them when they fall to 108, which he's going to fall there sometimes. How many days is this stash at? Right here? I mean, it's barely a stash. I think I shaved on Sunday or Monday. I had only done 23 DraftKings, and then so yeah, I just really haven't been doing many DraftKings at all. There's no like, oh, I'm drafting at night, I'm drafting at day. I just draft when convenient. Higgins ADP was 103. Yeah, but I do need a certain wide, eventually I just need to take a wide out, right? And Godwin has the O tag. So if they have an O tag, they're far more likely to fall. Higgins doesn't have the O tag. The combo of Higgins and Puka is a logical combo as well. I drafted Puka, not Nico. Might as well try to negatively leverage off of Nico with Higgins in the sense that if Higgins is scoring touchdowns, Nico is not. Okay. Yes, Will, you got me to comment on this. You got me when you said news. RJ Harvey was listed as the 5th running back on the depth chart. Yeah, that's nothing. That's not news. What was my team structure for winning BBM? 2-5-9-2. With a 0 at quarterback. Justin Fields didn't play. A couple zeros at wideout. Stanley Brown was on the team. Never wrong, just early. Not too good tight ends. Fant and Kasicki. Jeff Wilson Jr., who was a 0 for large portions of the season, but did have a good week 16. Not that I needed it. These tournaments have never really appealed to me. These King of the Desert tournaments. They're like multi-level parlays you have to win. First, you have to win the best ball tournament to then get a ticket to then go to like a showdown thing to win. So yeah, I don't know. Some people like them though. Oh man, Bughouse. I'm actually really good at Bughouse. I used to play a lot of bar Bughouse. Where were you when you won Best Ball Mania, and who were you with? I was in Key West at my cousin / best friend's bachelor party. So it was pretty awesome. Like before the weekend started, I was like, hey guys, like if things go right, like I could win $1 million. And they were like, yeah, okay, sure, dude. Sure. And then whatever, we're like hungover. We just had a crazy night, like, people were coming home late at night. We got a little too twisted and people were lost, whatever. Worked out in the end. Anyways, we all stroll in. We're all hungover. We watch the morning games of Red Zone. I have two teams in the finals. I have a team in the Puppy, and I have a team in Best Ball Mania. Jamar Chase is on both of them. We're hungover. We're watching at the house. Chase drops 50 over the course of the game. Things are awesome. I'm winning the Puppy in the morning games. Josh Allen scores a couple rushing touchdowns against the Falcons. Awesome. Then we go to a bar to watch the evening games, and it's like starting to feel real. Because only like 10 teams had Jamar Chase. So like if you didn't have Jamar Chase, you weren't winning. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown and Rashad Penny were playing each other, week 17 correlation, and they just started trading blows. And yeah, that's when pretty much couldn't lose from there. Okay, I definitely want it's a tough spot because I want Fields, I want Caleb, and I want Shaheed. I'd also like Loveland and Burden. Let's take Caleb. And I just never like passing on Loveland, but we're going to take Shaheed. I think we need the wideouts. All right, we'll do the Bears thing this time. Puka, Gene T. Cook, Brees, Henderson, Rome, Downs, Higgins, Caleb, and Loveland. Why not? Shaheed's ADP is 120, so some possibility we get him. Unlikely because this draft seems to have some sharper drafters in them, or just people who aren't acting like absolute idiots. Brady is coming back. Tom Brady? Fun fact, the Buck stacks were something I was worried about that year because like Buck stacks smashed that year with Tom Brady, and week 16 they all got destroyed because the Saints shut them out and like won that game, I think. And then the Bucks had a huge week 17 game, but no one really got to the finals with Buck stacks because they had a bad week 16. And Antonio Brown quit at halftime, and I was kind of worried about him because like him and Gronk were like smashed late round picks that year too. This is a bad take. Komet is better than Loveland. I'm sorry, Rad, but Loveland has already eaten Komet's lunch. Oh, we help with that. What's your questions? Do you have any tips for a redraft home league if you're drafting one team? If you're drafting one team, I would say a couple things. Redraft leagues tend to be more RB heavy. So, like, Gibbs versus Lamb, probably go Gibbs there. See him, Gene T versus Brian Thomas, maybe you go Gene T there, even though I love the wide receivers more. You gotta know your league mates though. Number two, since you're only doing one league, let's say if you're a fan of a team, I would definitely recommend get a player on the teams you like. Like it's not that serious. It's one team. Get some guys you want to root for. Terrence, I tend to side with the NFL where he went 10th in the NFL draft over a guy who said he's not that good. But that's just me. When you went 10th overall in the NFL draft. Trey Harris goes pick 121 in this with a Herbert stack. Logical. Holding our breath. Some chance we get Shaheed on the wrap. And there goes that. I mean, on a team that doesn't even need wideout, I honestly think that's a bad pick by this team. Like, this guy has Lamb, Wilson, Pickens, McLaurin, Olave, Addison, and only 2 running backs, and one of the running backs is hurt. Like, this guy should be going running back there, even if you like the wideouts. Burden we don't get either. That's a bummer. This is a little bit too, dogmatic of just like, oh, I love wideouts. Let's see. Stroud is gone. Naked, of course. The naked drafter always takes Kelsey and Andrews. So no clean quarterback here, which is okay. We're certainly going to take Ayuk. Yeah, why not? Let's take Ayuk and Kincaid. So the team, Puka, Ginty, Cook, Brees, Henderson, Rome, Downs, Higgins, Caleb, Loveland, Ayuk, Kincaid. Don't build many teams that are this weak at wideout through this many rounds, but we're going to try to take a lot of them. Just diminishing returns. Yeah, well, it's just more like, yeah, I mean, it's like, I think Shaheed's a good pick, especially for best ball. But it's just like, I mean, dude, you're just very overwhelmingly unlikely to make the playoffs at all. And I want to draft to win, but at a certain point, you've got to draft like you're right, Auto drafter takes Javonte and Nick Chubb. Reports out of camp the other day is that Javonte is the RB1. And that's a report that's like, of course he's the RB1 on August 6th. Other reports were that the Cowboys were absolutely unable to run the ball at all against the Rams in their joint practice. Yeah, I mean, this is just like wrong, right? He's trying to cite players who were lower. Like, Stephon Diggs was a 5th round pick. The NFL doesn't know anything. Like, by and large, draft capital is predictive, right? So, I don't know. If you want to just look at the total stats of Loveland and decide that he's not as good and you know more than the NFL because the NFL has been wrong at other times and cases, okay. Very easy to imagine that the Cowboys backfield could all be worthless. Yeah, I mean, worthless is not the word exactly I would use, but yeah, not great. Do you like Warren over Loveland? Again, this is anecdotal evidence, right? Of course, the NFL is wrong sometimes. They're more right than a guy at home looking at stats. I like Loveland over Warren. Better offense, higher draft capital. Pretty much it. Don't even put this into the environment, sir. That's bannable on this channel. Clearly, we're trying to fill flex with RB and tight end on this squad. We'll see if there's any quarterbacks for us. We're going to be doing this probably later in the summer. I don't know exactly. Bad to take both Bowers and McBride on the same team if they fall to you. You know, Adam, I would be doing it on occasion. I've not done it in any drafts yet, but yeah, I think it's okay to do rarely. Enjoying the Travis Hunter buzz? Yeah, I just knew I was right. I'm not enjoying that. Unlike most people, I want to win rather than just being wrong than being right. So yeah, I'm not enjoying that he's now going higher in drafts. But it's good for my bags. You know, Ertz is a guy who could just be a smash, and we'll be like, oh, we let Ertz fall again. So yeah, I do click Ertz sometimes. And honestly, like, he's drawing live to score similar to a lot of these tight ends. The Fergs, Goddards, Kincaids, etc. He goes high in this draft. I don't know if that's normal for DraftKings. I've just not done as much. Okay, well, we're definitely taking Stafford. Man, I definitely need wideouts more. But yeah, I'm just not passing on Tootin here. And then we'll be done at running back. So the team: Puka, Ginty, Cook, Brees, Henderson, Rome, Downs, Higgins, Caleb, Loveland, Ayuk, Kincaid, Tootin, Stafford. I would have taken Tillman if I didn't take Stafford or Douglas, probably, or Palmer. And from here, ideally, we'll get a third quarterback. I'm not crying if I don't. And then just taking wideouts the rest of the way. Kids aren't back until Tuesday, so it's just training and such. Chig's one of my favorite ones. I also like the running backs for him. If you're talking back stacking, I think it's anyone's guess. But Elikai Manor, Chamir DK, Tyler Lockett, mix and match these guys. The answer is I'm not really comfortable backstacking the Titans, and vibes have not been great from the Titans. I also don't draft Calvin Ridley a ton. I prefer DK the most because he went highest in the draft. I'm a chess teacher. And a good one. Yeah, I did see Davis take my talking point on the Eliminator. After previously fighting me on it, he said, oh, it will be great for content. Of course it will. Yeah, Jordan, Mason Taylor, high ankle sprain. Quite bad for a rookie. Gonna have to lower him in the ranks. Redraft rankings will be hitting the site this week. So the answer is no currently, but they will be hitting the site. I did tweet out checkmate. Yeah, I mean, look. And we should adjust our priors, right? When we're wrong. So Richardson goes, that's a bummer. He would have been a nice guy for me. This is like this 3-quarterback fever. This is where I just think people miss the mark. He has Hurts in May, and he's like, oh, I also need to get Richardson. Now, it is a stack, so it's like it's not crazy to do. But yeah, in the majority of drafts, like you should probably just live with Hurts in May. You have freaking Jalen Hurts. If any player scores a 50-yard touchdown, his ADP will go up, yes. Now, usually like the third preseason game used to be the one where the starters played. That's changed somewhat. I think the second. So sometimes some teams do the first now. Some teams do scrimmages. Some teams do the second. Any Jalen Milroe shares? No. It's just not really a bet I tend to make, which is like, hey, what if this quarterback gets to play late in the season? Now, obviously, he's unique and he would be awesome if he did for fantasy. Okay, so I think we do want to for sure go Rodgers here. And I'm not passing on Likely as a third tight end. So Rodgers has plenty of backstack partners. Someone asked, apparently I'm just doing this wrong. Is it Genty? No. It's just I literally don't know. I don't watch college ball. So Ashton Genty, not Jinty. Njoku is a candidate to get traded as well. I would think that they wouldn't want to trade a guy like that, but they just wouldn't get. They wouldn't a guy like that. You just don't get as much as his like value is to a team because he's a tight end. You know. What super stack do you like the most at value right now? I'm going to define super stack as like 4 more players. Team has to have a high pass rate, be good, be cheap. So like the Bills come to mind, just so many cheap pieces there. The Bengals, you can get a lot of cheap pieces. Packers, you don't have to pay a lot. 49ers, very discounted from years before. You can get some cheap Cowboys. You can get some cheap Bears. Okay. So we're certainly taking wide receiver with our last 4 picks. A 3-5-9-3. And really the story of this team is going to be how well did these running backs score? Because yeah, Rome and Downs, like I'm not the biggest on these guys. It does seem like Rome's having a good camp, so he's a guy I want to be getting more of. It's just hard for me to be enthusiastic about a Colts wideout. I don't really take Michael Pittman at all, though, so. And, Shakir and Godwin are a little bit less appealing with their injuries. Ayuk, are we getting enough to hold him over? I don't know. This team is very thin at wideout, so we need to hit some meaningful guys. I considered going Calvin Austin with Rodgers there. Just kind of hoping he would make it on the way back. He did not. I've been mixing in AD Mitchell this whole time, so there's no reaction I have there, really. Robin Wilson's a guy I've been mixing in too. The quote was not nice for him, by the way. It was that he needs to get out of his own head. Whose fault is that, Rodgers? Well, the St. Brown role is like a slot role, and that's not really Rome. I think Burden will be playing slot or more. All right, this is an example where it's like these guys I rank high because they could all be smashes, but this team just needs some points. So we're going to go Michael Wilson and Andre Yoshivas. Both kind of like wind sprinters, but they can also have weeks. Yeah, I think stuff like this, Watkins, Cowling, right? Like these are just like, there's two philosophies you could do for this team. One team is you could just like swing for the fences and be like, you know what? I need to hit a league winner. The other is that, you know what? I just need to get some points at wideout. I need some guys who are going to be running routes week 1 and bide time for Ayuk to get back. I think it will work out. I have an idea of who I'd like these next 2 picks to be. Yeah, weekly winners not for me, but other people like it, so that's great. Well, Gehrig, he says, I find it weird how everyone wants to assign a Lions role to a Bears player this year. Does Ben Johnson just not use these Bears players the best he can? There isn't necessarily a Bears, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or J-Mo. A lot of people just want a pattern match, right? We want to find the David Montgomery on Aaron Glenn's offense, the David Montgomery on the Bears, and it's like maybe this is right. You would think good OCs fit their offenses to their players, but yeah, we'll see. Some OCs are pretty rigid too. It's like, no, this is my system. Josh Reynolds sighting. Think it's fine to do this on occasion. Judkins 4 double tap. Cheaper it is, better it is. Some hype players, Woody Marks, pick 185. Ja'Cory Cross-Gamera, pick 188. Taj Brooks, 202. Tesla 207, Lambert Smith 217 on a Herbert team. Kyle Munungai 219. Some players that have been falling in drafts. Joe Mixon 100. Najee 152. Judkins 148. I'll mix him in. No, who's actually doing this? There's only one thing that is similar between Scatabo and CMC. Their skin color. That's it. Okay. Pretty easy. We're going to go 2-2 here. And Roman Wilson. I certainly would not be making the Roman Wilson pick if I didn't need a stack with Rodgers or want one. The 2-2 pick just feels quite nice on a Stafford team. So the team finishes up a 3-5-9-3. Puka, Ginty, Cook, Brees, Henderson, Rome, Downs, Higgins, Caleb, Loveland, Ayuk, Kincaid, Tootin, Stafford, Likely, Rodgers, Michael Wilson, Yoshi Voss, Tutu Atwell, Roman Wilson. I think Michael or Yoshi Voss I could have changed for like Ray McLeod to get some Week 17 correlation with the Rams thing. Do have some Rams Week 17 correlation with the Caleb, the Bears, and 49ers. Don't know if we really want Week 17 correlation for the Pitts game. What are the odds that Tyreek is traded by midseason? If the Dolphins are good, probably low, but in the event they're not, quite high. And we're keeping it moving, folks. We're over on Underdog. We're in Best Ball Mania. Yeah, I mean, CMC, I tend to be closer to the fade side of the coin. But obviously, he could be the best pick in fantasy football. Thoughts on Kareem Hunt? I think he's worth mixing in. Unlikely to be a key piece to winning late in the year, but not every pick needs to be a win late in the year type of guy. Reports from Chiefs camp was not good on the Chiefs running backs outside of Pacheco. It was like Elijah Mitchell doesn't look as explosive. Here, I'll find the quote. Kareem Hunt, doesn't have explosion. And Brashard Smith is a converted wideout. Yes, Athletic. Of course, I want to read fluff pieces on Travis Kelce. Okay. At running back, starter Isaiah Pacheco, this is from The Athletic, appears to be full strength after suffering fibula and rib injuries last season. But Kansas City doesn't seem to have much explosiveness behind him. Kareem Hunt is a short yardage specialist who turns 30 this week. Free agent Elijah Mitchell has yet to show the burst he had in his earlier days, while 7th-round running back Brashard Smith is super athletic but still working to pick up the playbook as a sort of receiver-back hybrid. He goes on to say the Chiefs could be on the lookout for a third down back who can both pass protect and provide big playability. Whether that becomes available after roster cuts remains uncertain. Kendry Miller? Get the 11 hole here. Looks like we're Puka-ing up on this stream. I have so much Grendo that I had to start taking a little more CMC. Yeah, like, I mix CMC in. I'm not full fading him, but I'm simply just not afraid either. Don't think you can really go wrong, but we're going to O'Brien Thomas. Both these guys could be wide receiver 1 in football, right? Period. This is Best Ball Mania. I think Singletary's less likely to be cut now because of Cam Scatterable being hurt. I don't think he's even on an NFL team. I have to look that up. He was a Dolphin last I knew. He's not a Chief. Maybe he's on the practice squad of some team. Plays for the Memphis Showboats, so that would be a no, sir. We don't want to be drafting non-NFL players. I have a Puka Neighbors. On the Chubb news, Chubb did not practice today. Seemed to leave with an injury. I don't know if he came back. And as I said yesterday to Davis, I think Dameon Pierce, he's worth mixing in. He got work with the first team today. So Woody Marks is the shiny new toy. But Dameon Pierce, I think he had plantar fasciitis surgery this offseason. Crazier things have happened. What was this rookie year? I think they've changed their blocking scheme to more fit him as well. So he left the NFL and is going back to rugby. So I would not recommend drafting Reese Submit either. So you folks think you trick me with these guys? I know these guys. I've said this loud and clear. I've said, I put literally a video out on the channel of the riskiest picks. Now, Brandon Ayuk is a risky pick that I indulge in. Let's do Kittle this time. Kittle was like one of my highest drafted players when he was a 5th-round pick, and I just don't have as much because he's changed. But, all the 49ers players seem somewhat hurt, so probably a good pick. Oh, Ken Walker. I always take the same players here. I always take like Jaden, Cook, Mike. So we got to take someone else. We take Tech this time. Trying to get different. Why is everyone so low on Higbee this year? Well, because they drafted Terrence Ferguson, and so when the market doesn't really know, they tend to just throw up their hands and try not to draft either. But I think he could be a great pick. No, I don't think a running back is going to fix the Cowboys' running back woes. Their O-line's just probably not that good. Very close, Bowers, McBride, but yeah, slight edge Bowers. Won't be surprising if McBride is a better pick, right? But yeah, slight edge Bowers. Drafted Kayshawn Booty here and there. Considered Jameson Williams there too, but that would have been kind of crazy with 3 week 8 by wide receivers. Getting a guy like Tet's always nice too because you always have the break glass in case of emergency quarterback backstack of Bryce Young later. Who's the worst priced RB2? Well, if it's the Jahmyr Gibbs show, it's David Montgomery because he's the most expensive, right? But ignoring stuff like that, I would say guys like Caleb Johnson and Cam Scatterbo, guys who we've just like the market is just assuming they have this kind of role locked down and it's far from a lock. Someone like Ramondre Stevenson is ranked high too because we think it's kind of ambiguous. But we could look back on the season and be like, why were we ranking Ramondre over guys like, man, that's a bummer. Travis Hunter goes 1 pick before us. They don't want to see us win. This team needs running backs anyways. We're got the Carolina thing going on. But, being like, oh, why were we taking Ramondre over the Bills RB2, Ray Davis? Stuff like that. Okay, this guy's clearly a casual kind of drafter. Takes Derrick Henry, takes Ken Walker way ahead of ADP, rips naked Joe Burrow. Welcome to the lobby, sir. But then he goes Rome, so I don't know. Maybe he's keeping me guessing here. Sure. Henderson could just be a smash, man. But we want James Conner. These were literally like the highest advance rate running backs in last year's playoffs, so we're bringing it back. I mean, anytime you take a lot of a player, you're being risky, right? I like Jonnu a lot. He did have, I think he left practice the other day with knee soreness, which, that's not great. Cooled me off a little bit, but yeah, I have a hard time quitting him too. Reports on Demario Douglas are quite positive. I have a lot of teams with him at pick 200, so. So a nice squad. We got 3 wideouts, Puka, Brian Thomas, Tet. We got Chuba Connor, and we got George Kittle. What happened to your chess channel? I mean, honestly, I'm just busy, so I stopped uploading videos. Maybe I will again one day. No, I do not think Xavier Restrepo gets decent playing time. You should certainly not be drafting undrafted free agents. Maybe he breaks the trend. I don't know, but it seems unlikely. Ricky Pearsall is either very underpriced or very overpriced. It's a serious question. Obviously, Polk is the cut. I mean, screw the targets. Xavier Restrepo is unlikely to be on an NFL team this year outside of a practice squad. So this guy seems like a wild card, something to keep in mind for future stacks. Seems like a good time to. Now, is this guy going to take both these running backs? You know what? God bless him if he does. Now, we're going to take Downs first for the Week 17 correlation with Brian Thomas. See what our wild card does. Okay, I mean, I don't know. Kind of normal drafting now. And then a big reach. Maybe he's drafting off projected points. Those are my favorite people. Khalil Shakir. This is a good team to get him at a discounted price. Could be slowed down the first 4 weeks of the season. This team has the wide receiver firepower to hold over, if that's even true. Yeah, Rashee Rice, groin injury. I think we had maybe a Tyreek injury too. I put an article on the site on the playoff matchups. Rad, if you want to read it, beatbestball.com. Chuba, Connor, Puka, Brian Thomas, Tet, Downs, Shakir, Kittle. I mean, what's this mean, man? The reports have not been positive for Jalen Polk. He was terrible last year, so is it possible he turns it around? Yes. Crowded wide receiver room, though. In all likelihood, it was a wasted second-round pick by the Patriots, yes. I mean, they took him over Ladd McConkey, or they traded down with the Chargers who took Ladd McConkey. $4 minimum for Rice. Seems like maximum $8. I mean, if either Polk or Baker turns into a hit for the Patriots, it's a win for how bad they were last year. I think the Pats and Commanders had joint practices today. All right. I think this is a great time to take Mr. Purdy with George Kittle. Appreciate you, Jason. Now, I have very rarely taken ETN. So Charbonnet gives me week 17 correlation, but ETN gives me teammate correlation. It's a tough call. I'm going to do Sharp. We can get the teammate correlation with later running backs. I didn't go quarterback there like a Fields because I have multiple quarterbacks to backstack with. So team feels pretty good. I think anywhere from 70 to 100. You should mix it in on occasion. a 3-6-6-5 with the last 5 picks tight ends, I think that's a totally fine way to build. If you like your running backs, you like your wide receivers, you like your quarterbacks. It's not something I would be doing often, but yeah. I think that's fine to do on occasions. Probably Sims like it. I've seen it done in high stakes drafts. You know, from like a theory standpoint, investing 5 picks into a onesie position, probably not the best. However, at tight end, they can hit your flex. And on the other side of the coin, like, well, you invested the most capital in running back and wide receiver. You got your quarterbacks. Have at it. Get some tight ends on there. What makes my rankings different? I mean, I don't know what they do, but Davis, actually, I've heard what he said he does. He downloads other people's and does a blended optimal of them, I think is what he said. Maybe some adjustments there. My rankings are how I feel about the players. They're literally what I draft off of. I manually make all of them. So some other rankings may be more projection oriented. Like my rankings are me too. They're not a round table of opinions. Okay, Trevor, our clear pick here to go with Brian Thomas. I'd like this guy to make the decision for me. He did not. Okay, we're going to juggle. Okay, we got Tank. One way to randomize it. Again, Tank is more likely to be a guy hitting your lineup early in the season. Tootin, more likely to be the league winner. I personally think Tootin makes a little bit more sense on this team with us having an old. But yeah, it's a very close choice. Oh, we do that sometimes, Brent. If I had time, I would have coin flipped it, but it's 20-second clocks, you know? Bateman ahead of Keenan doesn't feel right to me. Keenan is still good. He was elite 2 years ago. The Bears basically didn't have an offensive coaching staff last year. I think that's ignoring that Keenan was available at pick 206 and later and didn't go drafted in every draft. Bateman is a good candidate to simply score 7 touchdowns randomly. Bateman is not likely to be cooked by weeks 14 through 17, where possibly Keenan could. So, yeah, I put my Keenan ranking before he signed to the Chargers, but I already had him very highly ranked. He goes pick 145 here. But yeah, I think it's worth mixing him in anywhere here. I'm not going to be like going over my skis chasing Keenan because I have lots of. I think on Underdog I have like 17% Keenan across my drafts. 20% Keenan. Not all of that's BBM. So, yeah, that's just not a player who I will be chasing up boards. Because what's the point? Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, I'm almost never going 3 quarterback, but when it's for a week 17 game stack here, we will be going Bryce Young. It's for the double stack with Chuba and Tet and gives the game stack of Zach Charbonnet. And it's cheap, so why not? And I feel strong at running back, wideout, and tight end. Running back, we do have the 3 week 8 buys. Stafford also gave us a Puka stack, but yeah, we wanted the game stack, and feels like a good team to take Garendo on. Who cares if he misses the first couple weeks? Stacks with Purdy as well. Any Badge Bros entries? I think I did one. Just not my favorite contest. Is there another one or something? Yeah, I did one on stream a couple weeks ago. Any rookies and sophomores? I think I also did one. I did not, but he's a lot richer than me, so good for him. Najee news? Let's see. Is it active? I mean, I know that I know he said something earlier about like echolocation to him. So is this the news you're talking about? Jim Harbaugh says running back Najee Harris has developed a sophisticated system of echolocation. That's not news if that's him cracking a joke, I think. Oh. Najee Harris still can't open his eye. This bizarre eye injury saga grows as he posted a selfie walking laps. Yeah, so you can see that this eye is shut. Now that, I mean, but did he just close it? I still don't think we know. I don't know, man. This guy's just trying to clickbait stuff, like most Twitter docs. Like his eye is just closed there, but like, folks, is my eye blown off by a firework or is my eye closed? You know, like, let's be serious. You would think he is trolling, right? I mean, it's a perfect storm. This is the time of year where people will react to anything. And yeah, I mean, can't pass on Jonnu at this point. Yeah, people will react to anything, and he's feeding into that. All right, we're gonna do Diami Brown. Protect yourself with the Travis Hunter shares with some Diami Brown. 2 more picks left. Purdy, Trevor, Bryce Young, Chuba, James Conner, Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby, Isaac Rendo, Puka Nakua, Brian Thomas, Tet McMillan, Josh Downs, Khalil Shakir, Diami Brown, George Kittle, Jonnu Smith. So hard to say what this team needs because I don't really feel like we need another running back, but we could consider it. Wouldn't say we need 2 more wide receivers. Definitely 1. We're not taking another tight end. We're not taking another quarterback. So, yeah. Odds on Najee being a pirate for Halloween? Got to be high, right? What's this even mean? August rolls around and people just type NFL players' names. Who's 0-20? How many big dogs and 5.55s? Don't really know. Honestly, I just kind of busy, so I don't think I'll do as many as years past. I think I've done roughly like 7 or so on both. And I just need to draft all the bigger field stuff. So really we'll see. Don't have a hard plan for it. Yes, Perry, Jacob, Ron, and I will get together again. Almost certainly. Will Fuller. If Will Fuller unretired, I'd be stoked, Jaden. Sure. Adonai Mitchell. Give us some week 17 correlation there. And let's just add on to it. One of my favorite games is Jags Indy for week 17, and we just kind of like super stacked it with pieces. Purdy, Trevor, Bryce, Chuba, Connor, Charbonnet, Tank, Garendo, DJ Giddens, Puka, Brian Thomas, Tet, Downs, Shakir, Downey Brown, Adonai Mitchell, Kittle, Smith. So we got Adonai, Brown, Downs, Thomas, Giddens, Tank, Trevor. Someone scoring fantasy points in that game. This was tempting too. Let's name that bad boy. I'd feel obligated to draft 1 share of Rashad Penny. I don't even know if he officially retired. I've drafted some Parker Washington. Drafted a lot in the big board. Drafted some more recently. $94. 8-6 streamed. Okay, for some reason that didn't save. 94. 8-6 streamed. Am I an idiot? What am I doing wrong here? Mo Alley Cox. No, 84. Come on now. Ugh. 94. I think it works. It just, for some reason, tells me it doesn't. All right, I was going to call it, but you guys pulled me in. One more. The Eliminator. I still need, I did do all my Eliminators, all my Drafters, all my DraftKings. So, yeah, if there's any extra time, I'll get in some higher stakes ones. If not, we'll just hope to win on a couple entries. Eliminator is 69% filled. If you want to enter slow drafts and you don't want to deal with the clock speeding up to 4 hours, around today is like the last time you should enter. I entered some DraftKings slows around 50 or so, just because I don't want to have to cram in 100 DraftKings fast. So, yeah, now I'm going to have to deal with being on the clock forever. Let's see. I pulled this yesterday. Oh, if you're subscribed to beatbestball.com, I had to re-upload the Eliminator rankings because I forgot to include Brandon Ayuk. So you can go in and re-download that at beatbestball.com. Okay, so yesterday, Best Ball Mania was at 57%. It was a little bit under. Today, it's at 59%, basically. So 2% in a day, a little over a day. 29 days left. So that will almost surely fill. Sure. Getting Christian McCaffrey in contests like the Eliminator makes a lot of sense to me. Who cares if he gets hurt week 10? Just get me to week 10. Here, I'll pull up DraftKings too. DraftKings today is at 470. DraftKings is at basically 54% today, and they were at 52% yesterday. So they filled 2%. Again, I pulled those in the morning yesterday, so it's not a perfect 1-to-1 because it's 10 o'clock East Coast. Drafters yesterday was at 36%. Today, 51,400. Today they're at, with rounding, 37%. So drafters filled 1% day over day. Again, not perfect. Wow, this is insane. The Eliminator drafters are just not serious. And this is why I should be going CMC at times, because apparently they'll just give you Puka at pick 18. How did that happen? Henry went, Achane went, JT went, Bucky went, Kyron went, Brian Thomas went. We got to put a tweet out to let the people know. You can follow me at Cheslium. Give us Brock Bowers. This is the eliminator, to be fair, so wide receivers in general go later. Right, so this lad going in the third, this would not happen in BBM. Wow. Man, are we going to pass on Trey McBride? I just don't think I can do it. You never end up loving your teams with Trey McBride, but they all play in the same division. We have an elite player at running back, wideout, and tight end. You know, if Trey McBride scores 20 points in a given week, you're very likely to advance in that week. No, but Lad will go in the third at time. Really consider Jaden or the running backs there. Not even DraftKings, I've seen Puka go 18. Eliminator drafts are just their old animal, because what happens is people have done an eliminator draft and inevitably they've been hit by the running back fever and they hate how their team feels. And so they enter another one and they're like, fine, I'm going to go 2 running backs. I'm going to go 2 running backs. I'm going to take Kyron at 16, you know? But, honestly, yeah, Puka will probably go 18 in a DraftKings draft. Saw a JJ Puka last night and Elim. My God. Weekly winners, I don't think counts as much because people will I think the elite quarterbacks go high in those. And just uniqueness is so valuable in that contest. But I mean, 6-star, right? Am I worried about Matt Stafford? Could it be a big deal? Sure. But in general, no, I'm not. He's had this back injury forever. And even if it is something, Puka Nacua is still going to be playing football. And his quarterback will probably throw from anywhere from 215 to 230 yards. So ask yourself, oh man, that would have been nice. Let's keep the elites rolling. We're trying to beat teams at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Blah! Ask yourself, if Matt Stafford averages 260 passing yards a game and his replacement averages 230, how much should a Puka fall in the draft because of that? Feels nice. We have outs to like any player exploding and just like, beating a team head to head. Questions like this are a risk tolerance question. So if you're drafting a lot of Justin Fields and he's the guy you need to have this year, you're set up for success. If he breaks his leg or gets benched, that hurts. I mean, certainly, right? But in general, in the Eliminator, you're trying to build a super team. And a super team to me is strong at tight end, it's strong at wideout, it's strong at quarterback, it's strong at running back. Wow. I mean, I think we just have to go Smith here for the correlation. It is tempting to get DJ Moore much later than his ADP. But yeah. We have Jalen Hurts. Let's tell a story. Week 9, somewhat of a unique bye, too. There's definitely lots of merit to not having positive correlation as well in the Eliminator and purposely drafting negative correlation. So, like, just a naked quarterback. Just because, again, you just need to beat a team head to head. What if Stetson Bennett's good? Helps me out, folks, if you like the stream, if you click the subscribe button. We're trying to grow here. We give out a lot of info. This is insane. CMC and Puka. We just got to land the plane now. I like it at 18. Right? If you want 20 rounds, you can get that on other sites. Man, I wanted Hunter. Okay, we're taking a running back. We're going to take Swift this time. You got to acquiesce to the running back fever. Week 5 is a unique running back buy, somewhat. Gives us 2 starting running backs. Who cares if Swift is getting Kyle Monagnied later in the year? Quite possibly that the Bears could be kind of run heavy. So the team: Hurts, CMC, DeAndre Swift, Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, Trey McBride. Feels pretty good. I guess I just need to start taking CMC more in BBM and such, just in case, this is a thing. Especially with like the recent news today of like Matt Stafford getting an epidural or whatever that was. Marathon is filling? Doesn't really seem like it. 28%. So doesn't seem like that to me. This is a tough choice between these two players for me. All right, let's do it, Puka. Should, in theory, be one running back we still like. And Ibuka, kind of the end of a tier at wideout. Does have a week 9 bye, which is, ideally he would not, but is what it is. I mean, I don't know. It's a little bit uneasy on Godwin. Definitely could come back strong. He could also be like third fiddle on the team. Cowboys want James Cook or fake news? Sounds like fake news. Don't know where you're seeing that from. Oh, Scott Barrett tweeted this out. I mean, this just seems like Scott just wants engagement. Breaking rumor. I mean, like breaking rumor? Oh, okay. He goes, I'm making fun of this new breaking rumor trend. Okay, so he invented this rumor 2 seconds ago. None of this is real. So yeah, folks, maybe we should read before we jump. Thoughts on Hard Knocks? It was fun. There's no actionable info there. Yeah, it's obviously a joke because it makes no optical sense for the Cowboys to do that when they have contract negotiations going on of their own. Just like probably been some bigger accounts that hyped up Ken Walker. He still falls to the 5th often in BBM, but stuff like that. Then he fell again because he wasn't practicing. Now he's back at practice. All right, yeah, and I think it's a week 5 bye. But after that, running back is pretty dire, so whatever. In all likelihood, he's just like strictly a better eliminator pick than Caleb Johnson. I would think not. Crazy changes to the draft board after, like, what are you going to see that would shake up the top of boards? Yeah, maybe I'll try to get CMC in a bunch of these drafts on like DraftKings or something to even it out. I think that's a great DraftKings is probably a great place to get CMC because this type of start is just going to be like possible on CMC on a DraftKings. Hopefully, it's not in Best Ball Mania. All right, let's get Keon. Week 7 bye is much more preferable than a week 8 or week 5 for this team. Keon could be an awesome pick this year in fantasy. Could just win you a week. So the team's starting to shape out. We got Hurts. We got CMC Swift Warren. We got Puka Smith, Ibuka Keon. We got Trey McBride. It's coming together, folks. Week 5, you hope that's the week that CMC scores 30. Gets us through Swift and Warren. That's kind of like, for these teams, it's kind of nice to have some early buys like that. Because if the team advances by week 5, you're like, oh, well, now this team is like really live to do well because I made it through the buys. I got the whole weeks ahead of me. What do you think the craziest start in BBM will be this year? Well, it will also depend about what future news we get, but currently it's going to be something like Jefferson, Amon-Ra, or something like that. CMC Puka, stuff like that. The Eliminator used to be bigger pods. I have a lot of early tank in the Eliminator, so that feels nice. And J.K. Dobbins. But the Eliminator used to be like big pods where, Darnell Mooney, week 5 bye. Not a big deal for our wide receiver room. Helps with the week 9 buys. Should be ready somewhat early in the season. But yeah, the Eliminator used to be like, okay, you're in a pod of 12 and like 6 of the 12 go forward. And then in week 2 in your pod of 9 and like 5 of the 9 go forward. And then week 3, you're in a pod of 10 and 5 of the 10 go forward. Like it was like random stuff like that. It wasn't something I ever took part in, but I love the head-to-head aspect. Hurts at pick 64? My God. Where do you find these lobbies? Okay. So we see Tank go ahead of Scatabo, which he almost just certainly should in this. Tank goes ahead of ETN, though. Kind of a hot take guy. I don't know. I just let myself auto down Trey Harris there. I don't feel great about it. I thought about Trevor, but like we have other quarterback stacks. Just need him to be something by some point in the season. Could still be a big hit with Keenan there. Najee goes pick 129 in this. I think Ray would have been a reasonable pick here too. This guy's tweet made me laugh. Eliminator drafters when they see any running back within 10 spots of ADP, and it's just a monkey slamming the mouse. It's so true. Okay, I passed on Trevor because I thought I'd get Michael Penix. Of course, we did not. Why have one good tight end when you can have two? I've been taking Najee Harris at picks 150 to 160. I have absolutely no idea about his eye health. I don't think I have a ton of Anthony Richardson and BBM, but I've been taking them recently. Sir, I've never been a Najee guy. Maybe you're talking about yourself, but no, I'm just taking Najee at pick 160 because he's a lot cheaper. I considered Judkins, Sampson, but I just didn't feel like it. Not when my guy's there. Allows me to stop at two tight ends. I already was going to do that. Hurts, CMC, Swift, Jalen Warren, Puka Nakua, Devonta Smith, Emeka Buka, Keon Coleman, Darnell Mooney, Trey Harris, Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid. Okay. It was going to be between these two players, but choices have been made for me. Tootin, who is, in some senses, he's a worse pick in this if he's just going to be like a home run hitter. In other senses, if he's a league winner, he's an even better pick in this. Because you get the benefit for the whole season if he is. So, quite happy to get him at pick 151. Manage rank sometime this week, Rhino. I was confused on the word relax. You meant realize. You made me realize how fun that sweat is going to be if you get a team to like week 6. I mean, I think week 4 you enter the money. Oh, by the way, we forgot to do the coin flip bit. If I could spell. Heads. We made it through week 1. Tails. Got switched it up. Made it through week 2. Tails again. Week 3. Back to heads. Wow. Through week 4. 4 record. Got to use your head one more time. Week 5. Back to tails. Ah. We're going to take Richardson. You got to risk it to get the biscuit, folks. Okay, hands up. We did the coin flip bit. I kind of forgot. Stafford, because I had Puka, probably a better pick. I just kind of already penciled in that I'd be going Richardson. I don't really want to go 3 quarterback, but Stafford's probably going to make it back to me. I mean, the chat has no reaction to me having a record in the coin flips. My God. Richardson is just a smash if he plays all, if Richardson plays like 10 games, he's a great pick for this format. The odds of you getting that 5 times is like 3%. That's what we're trying to do here, folks. Oh, man. Is Stafford going to make it back to me? Because, like, for this team, okay, I feel good at wideout. He's going to make it back. Quarterback, 2 running backs, and a wideout? Yeah, we could do it. Oh, but Keenan's here? Okay, no. I mean, Keenan is simply the pick. We want Stafford, but like, yeah, no, this like getting Harris and Keenan, locking up 7th wideout, like that's just a better pick. I mean, pick 175, he should just not be available, right? Great synergy with Trey Harris, and we might get Stafford on the wrap, folks. He might be damaged goods in this contest. You think people would love me for putting them on to Jerome Ford and what he did in the playoffs? You know, I am your best ball messiah. Just kidding. I watched it live, sir. So we saw Keenan Allen in our BBM go pick 135, and he just went 175 after Alec Pierce, Jalen McMillan, Leggett. This is the team of destiny, folks. Hurts and Richardson, CMC Swift, Warren Tootin, Puka, Smith, Igbuka, Keon, Mooney, Harris, Keenan, McBride, Kincaid. I think I just have to be done at wideout because I need more running backs. Taking 2 more running backs minimum. Deion Dawkins is awesome. Low key, I'm surprised that the Bills let him have that hobby of him drifting his cars. Like that seems like a dangerous way to just like get hurt. Like they're all drifting in a circle. He's like $100+ million left tackle or something, you know? I was sick. I was thinking of blackjack when you were doing it. Man, we got some degenerates in the chat. Chat's delayed on this. Getting through 5 weeks is 1 out of 32. Very impressive. All right. I mean, they're making us. They're making us. We're going to get 2 running backs. Roshan makes no sense for us anyways with the week 5 bye. But now we got the stack of Stafford to Puka as well. And this with 2 running backs. You know, Scott, I'm kind of on this side. What's the difference? I myself have said this earlier in the stream. Maybe that's why you're saying it. What's the difference between Darius Slayton and Keenan Allen? Slayton puts up 750 yards and some touchdowns regularly, is younger, number 2 on his team, best situation he's been in. I mean, obviously enthusiasm for Keenan on the Chargers is just higher. Number 2, Keenan is 2 years removed from this season where he got hurt midseason. And there's some chance that like Trey Harris is a 0, Quentin Johnson is a 0, Tyler Conklin is a 0, Will Dissly's a 0, Keandre Lambert-Smith is a 0, and it's just Ladd and Keenan. And in that case, like Keenan has like, 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. But in general, I do think there's a lot of wide receivers who will probably be somewhat similar to Keenan's production, but none of that matters because he's going up in price, baby. Also, yeah, contingent upside. If Ladd were to get hurt, you think Keenan would probably have like a Larry Fitzgerald type season? Keenan got paid less money than Darius Slayton. Okay, I think the best pick for this team, man, we're not passing on Woody Marks because Woody Marks could be a league winner. Why not? We just need Woody Marks to be seeing the field by week 5-ish. Conceivably, Grant, you could draft your first 5 picks could be Diami Brown, Michael Wilson, Ja'Cory Cross-Gamera, Pat Bryant, and Isaac Rendo, and you could win. Anything is possible. I tend to agree. Let's pull up Woody Marks Raz. Is this his real name? Jaquovius Marks? If so, that is way cooler than Woody Marks. Can anyone confirm for me? Did Woody Marks go to Southern California? I was going to take Kareem Hunt, who also feels like a good pick in the eliminator when I have guys like Tootin. He went to USC, yes. Okay, so I don't see his official card. So maybe these numbers are not quite it. But, you know, he has like decent size, 207 pounds. Like this type of running back can handle the rock. He has a fine 10-yard. It seems like the college ball watchers think he's bad. Like I hear Davis say he's bad all the time, but like none of that stuff matters to me. I'm quite fond of my fat Keenan bags. Yeah, I'm not like hooping and hollering about my late round Keenan bags. And this simply, like, this is just not, he should not go after guys like Jack Beck probably anymore. Okay, who's a running back who's like going to give us points early in the season? Kind of a big ask, huh? From this group of guys. Alexander Madison, low-key, could be it, but I just can't bring myself to do it. So we're going to take Taj Brooks. Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson, Matthew Stafford, Christian McCaffrey, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Warren, Byshel Tootin, Woody Marks, Taj Brooks. We're swinging for upside with these three guys. Just need, honestly, if like one of these guys can average 12 points per game, that could be enough. Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, Emeka Buka, Keon Coleman, Darnell Mooney, Trey Harris, Keenan Allen, Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid. Feels like an eensy bit thin at wide receiver, but if Igbuka is a league winner, if Darnell Mooney just plays, if one of Harris or Keenan can be a smash and or alternate, team feels really strong. We have good bye week mixtures. 3 quarterback definitely was not my intention, but don't hate it with the big dip on Stafford. The super rare CMC Puka combo. Swift and Warren, 2 guys who, you know, seem like they should just be scoring points early in the season. Again, we swung for upside here. Bye week total, we have 2 week 12s. We have 1 week 14 with CMC. We have 4 8s. We have 2 7s. We have 3 9s, 2 5s, and a 6. Maybe I didn't say all that right, but we're not going back. Let's name that bad boy. My God. You know, I was on the fence of drafting another team on stream. Just decided to rip it. And we got a team that's awesome. 8, 6, streamed. CMC Puka, all caps. All right, folks. That's what I got for tonight. Like, subscribe. I appreciate you. When I end the stream, do me a favor. Refresh it. Maybe drop a comment like, no way, bro, CMC and Puka. That would help me out. BeatBestBall.com has updated ranks earlier this week. We'll have managed ranks on the site later this week. Peace out. Enjoy your nights.